Hello teacups, what's brewing? How are you? Hope you're doing okay. I'm just putting my makeup on for my react to Chantel's I'm Bad. That'll be up, I don't know, 5-6 hours. It takes me a couple of hours to film the react, and then I've got to cut it down, I've got to edit it. It has to export, which is the longest stage of that, and it'll be up when it's up, but it is coming. But as I was getting my makeup ready anyway, I thought I'd just sit down and give you a tiny bit of a life update. I'm going to be using my camera as my mirror today, pretty much. If it gets desperate, I might pop into this and use this mirror. I had a couple of people ask me about my full face makeup, because I usually just do my eyes on here on camera with you, just to save some time, and the fact that I wear my wig when I do my makeup on camera and I don't wear it when I do my makeup off camera. So it's hard to put foundation on around the wig, whereas usually it's just off. But someone asked me about my foundation. It's just an e.l.f. one. It's the e.l.f. Satin Finish, the Flawless Finish foundation. It's a satin finish. I was talking the other day in my react about lipstick and how if it's too matte, it just emphasizes lines and textures and things. When it's too matte on the face, it does the same thing. This is shade Snow, which is fair with pink undertones. I'm a very cool toned girl, so this is a really good foundation for me. I top it off with the L'Oreal True Match in... I'm sure this had a shade at some point. I think it's C1 Cool, or whatever the lowest C shade is. I really like their powders, and it's not too expensive because I wear makeup a lot, and I don't think for foundation I'm really looking more for a colour match than I am for anything else. So it's been nice to find a good one for me. Under the eye, oh, I haven't brought it up with me. Under the eyes, I just put a dab of the e.l.f. Camo Concealer, and then I powder it off. It's all fine. So I'm going to do just my cheeks and my eyes with you today. Something very simple because I'm not feeling too fancy. Probably the same look as I did, was it last react? Just the red lip, the fairly neutral eye. So I'm going to use the Natasha Denona mini Glam palette, and then I cooled out the brown on it with the silver shade from the Natasha Denona Love palette. So we're just going to do that today, and some cheeks and some things. Where is my... So I'm just going to prime my eyes. I do use the matte paint pot in the shade Painterly, which I love, but mine has dried out and I was a bit too cheap to replace it. So I've been trying the e.l.f. Putty primer, which I've been finding actually has been a good dupe for it, but it's a lot cheaper. So if you're ever in a pinch, it's got a very similar texture to it. So anyway, for those of you who don't know, because I've had a little bit of a bump in subscribers recently, some of you are new to the channel, I usually am not in the UK. I usually teach abroad. I live in Saudi Arabia. And I came home for Christmas during the winter holiday, and I got stuck here due to the travel restrictions. They updated them end of December, and I couldn't travel back. They put us on complete lockdown, no travel for a couple of weeks. And then when the travel was reopened, they said, okay, in March we're reopening. And then it got to sort of end of February and they were like, just kidding, we'll reopen in May. And I was stuck here. There wasn't a lot I could do. Now they did say, basically the restrictions that are in place at the moment, sorry, I'm looking for what I'm looking for. I'm just going to start with this brown shade right here. Now what the restrictions actually say for arriving in Saudi is if you come from a certain number of countries, originally the list was 20 countries, you have to quarantine for 14 days in a separate country that doesn't have the strains of the Rona, God, my hair, that doesn't have the new strains of the Rona. Because that way it just keeps Saudi safe, you're not bringing it in, you have to get tested every 5 days, I think it is in most countries, to say that you were fine. You come in with a new test, you're negative, and then there's no chance of it being passed on. I was super resistant to doing this because I'd have to do it at my own expense. And I was actually waiting. I got my first vaccine done in March, and I'm due to have my second one on May 21st? May 21st. I got it done at the end of March. So I didn't want to travel before I'd gotten that done. And my school were initially like, stay in place, stay safe, it doesn't matter, you can do your virtual teaching from home, and it was better not to disrupt the lessons because I had very stable internet connection here, and it wasn't, you know, it was just one less worry. Whereas if I travel, you've got the chance of travel restrictions changing while I'm doing the quarantine and me getting stuck, because for a while there, Britain had their flights closed as well, so coming back was going to be a massive issue. And they were like, stay safe. And then in April, their tone changed a little bit. And they were like, actually, all teachers need to come back at their own expense now. And I argued, no, I'm waiting on my vaccine. There's no point me coming back before my second vaccine, especially considering restrictions are due to be lifted on the 17th. I'm getting my vaccine on the 20th. Rather than do 2 weeks, I will get my second vaccine done. I will travel the day after my vaccine because it's the first available day I can, and I will just go straight back to Saudi. And the school was not happy. They sent me some very passive aggressive emails being like, well, due to the fact that every other person has chosen to come back early, you're going to have to prove that you have your vaccine booked. And I sent them the proof because, you know, I don't care about that. But at the same time, I was like, I can name 3 people just in my team that are not currently in Saudi. So that's a little bit of horseshit. But fortunately, I restrained myself before I said that to HR. But I didn't appreciate the pressure. I understand them wanting us to be back in Saudi so that there aren't any problems with the new school year. But the king decreed that the school year was finishing early. The school has now put in voluntary reinforcement if the kids want to come in, but there was no reason I couldn't complete my work from here, and I had been completing my work from here. So I didn't understand why suddenly now there was so much pressure. But anyway, that was the plan. I was going in May. So that was all fine until the beginning of this month. This is the NYX glitter primer. That was all fine until the beginning of this month. And the beginning of this month, they released information about lifting the international restrictions. Because when I flew out, I was in an exempted group because I had family in a different country. I was an expat. Whereas natives, sorry. Whereas citizens in Saudi, they haven't been able to travel. They haven't been able to travel since a long time. I want to say December, it might be longer. I'm actually just going to put a silver shade in from the Natasha Denona Love palette called Blind, because I want something a bit more cool toned than the other one will allow me to do. So I'm going to mix this one here, which is full alt silver, with a slightly warmer tone to get a slightly cooler toned brown at the end of it. So they updated what restrictions were going to be lifted. And what they actually did was they basically said citizens can travel under these directives, but IGAMA holders can't. IGAMA is my residency permit. So the travel restrictions being lifted only applied to the people who were originally from Saudi, not people working there. I'm just topping this with the shade Transparent, which is this one right here, just to make it a little bit more brown and blend in with the brown I've just put in a bit more. And that means that I can't travel in without doing quarantine. It hasn't lifted the quarantine requirements at all. And actually, the list of 20 countries that was initially in place has been expanded to 38. And that's left me with a real problem, because now I can't get into Saudi because all the direct routes from Saudi are banned, go through countries that are on the banned list. So what they've actually done is, even though the country list is only 38 countries, they've effectively banned anyone but citizens moving in, because there are countries I could do my quarantine in. I've actually got 2 problems. One, UK is kind of person non grata when it comes to international travel at the moment, because hey, one of the new strands came from us. One of the new strains of the Rona came from us. And the international community does not appreciate that very much. And 2, I've got to then go to a country that Saudi Arabia will accept. So it has to be a country that doesn't have those new strands. So if I go to Romania, Bulgaria, wherever, and then I go on to Saudi, in order to get from one of those countries that I can go into and get to Saudi, I would have to transit through a banned area. There's no direct flights. So I can't get in. I'm completely stuck. There doesn't seem to be a route that allows me both to get into the intermediary company and get out of it without hitting somewhere that's banned. Because all of the surrounding countries are banned right now. And I ended up just sending a message to my school and just being like, guys, you guys, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do because I've tried and there doesn't seem to be a route. So I'm just waiting on my school to get back to me right now. I had messaged my head to let her know, and she got back to me, and she's just messaged HR to be like, please respond to her email, because right now we are on holiday. So they're not checking what, and it's the weekend as well, so I wouldn't expect them to be checking it, to be completely honest. But I've cancelled my flight because I can't take it. I called the airline, they were like, yeah, no. And actually my airline, I was flying on Saudia, which is the national carrier, and they've been excellent. They, when I couldn't fly in January, they were just like, we got you, fam. Kept the ticket, didn't give me any trouble rebooking it, didn't charge me anything to rebook it, despite the fact that I was rebooking in quite an expensive time. They were just like, now we good. And when I called them yesterday, they said, well, do you want to rebook it for a later date and just see what happens, or do you want to cancel it? Given that I now believe I'm going to have to do the 2-week quarantine somewhere when I go, wherever that may be, I just asked them to cancel it, because at the time I thought I could go into Bahrain because I was working on the wrong list. There was the list of 20 countries, and then there's the list of 38 that's coming into effect on the 17th. But unfortunately, because they didn't release that information until the 5th of May, I can't do a quarantine. I can't just say like, drop everything, I've got to get to the airport, because there's only 12 days. So with that new information, I couldn't even get out and do the quarantine. There wasn't enough time. So I'm kind of up shit creek, to be completely honest. There's nothing I can do about that. So I'm just hoping my school is understanding of that fact, because I can't get out. Oh, Jesus Christ. Just going to do this. You can see just my hair right there, but get it out of my face. This is the Star Surfer highlighter by Kaleidos. I ordered it when I ordered my Angelica Nyquist Kaleidos collab, the Club Nebula, and I absolutely love it. I put my highlighter on first because when I put the blush on, it blends in a little bit and stops it being, like, sometimes I want it to be on top and to be super like, but a lot of the time I just want it blended in. This is just like a blush trio, I was about to say duo, that I bought in the holiday release from Tarte. So this is the shade Frosty, Sleigh Bells and Shimmering. So they've got like a blush light, and I tend to mix these two. So that's where I am right now. I'm stuck in the UK. I have no answer as to how long this is going to take. This might actually be a bit warmer than I wanted for this look. I've got no answer in terms of how long this is going to take. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get out of the UK for a little while. I do know that Saudi wants everybody in education in person at the beginning of next year, so I've got to get back before the end of August, because that's when our year starts. But right now I've literally got nothing I can do except wait, essentially. It may be that my school gets back to me and they say, no, we've got a route right here, you're absolutely fine. In which case, if I can take it, I'll take it. But right now I just don't really have any options. There doesn't seem to be a route, which is quite sneaky to be like, oh, if you're from these countries, but oh yeah, you can't get in directly from any other country. Like, hello there. This is a Sephora color in very, very red. I don't know the name of it because the I can't read the name, so I don't know what name it is, but I don't usually put it on with a brush, but I am finding it very difficult because I don't have any of my red liners here, if I want to use it, I need to kind of even up a little bit. Okay, and I'm just going to top that with the gloss I showed you last time, the NYX Butter Gloss in the shade Apple Crisp. So yeah, that's where we are right now. Basically, I don't understand why they would allow citizens movement and not allow Agama holders. Because if you're risking it coming into the country and you're willing to make that risk, then you could easily say, okay, Agama holders have to go under the same restrictions as citizens, because you obviously trust that to be enough for your citizens. So I'm at a little bit of a loss. I'm hoping the school can help me, or the school can be understanding over the fact that this is something entirely out of my control, and we will have to see. Okay guys, this is me all finished up. It's a very simple look. I know I usually go for a lot of colour, but we are where we are. It's already quite late. I saw the mess that was the live as it was happening, and it was already quite late, and then I got busy today because I was dealing with all this crap. So the react is going to be up quite late, but I'm going to film it now. So let me just put this up and I will see you soon. But I just thought I'd let everybody know what was going on. All right, talk to you soon, everybody. Bye-bye.